Hello everyone, and welcome to this lesson on haploid and diploid cells. As you may know, the way that many animals, including humans, reproduce is by a process called sexual reproduction, and even many plants reproduce this way as well. This form of reproduction involves the production of special sex cells called gametes. What basically happens is that the nuclei of the two gametes that you form will then fuse together, which is a process called fertilization, to produce what is called a zygote. The zygote will then divide repeatedly by mitosis to eventually produce the full multicellular organism. This is the process of sexual reproduction in a nutshell, and this is how you, me, and all other humans initially began their life. Now, as we know, it is the DNA, which is carried as chromosomes, that actually contains the instructions for making proteins in a cell. And therefore, each cell will require a complete set of these instructions, a complete set of DNA. Now, as we said, the DNA is carried as chromosomes. Each of these chromosomes will contain a DNA molecule. And the DNA, in turn, contains the code for the synthesis of all the various proteins. As you may remember from your first year, a length of DNA that codes for a particular polypeptide is called a gene. And when a cell divides, it's going to be very important that each of the new cells that we form, the daughter cells, ends up with a complete set of genes. We already saw one way in which this happens when we studied how cells divide by mitosis. In sexual reproduction, however, this is going to be a little different. In order to understand how this works, we need to first understand the concept of haploid and diploid cells. You see, in most of the cells in our body, in the nucleus, we have two complete sets of chromosomes. There are, of course, some exceptions to this, such as, for example, red blood cells, which don't even have a nucleus, but generally, this is the case. These kinds of cells, which have two complete sets of chromosomes, are termed diploid. Now, each of these complete sets of chromosomes contains a complete set of genes, and therefore a complete set of instructions for making all the proteins that the organism is going to need. In humans, there are 23 chromosomes in one complete set, and therefore there will be 46 chromosomes in each diploid cell. Because remember, a diploid cell has two complete sets of chromosomes. So if one set is 23 chromosomes, then if you have two sets, that means you have 46 chromosomes. You have two copies of each chromosome. If we come down to this diagram here, you can actually see the two sets of chromosomes. Now here, of course, these chromosomes have been rearranged so that the matching pairs, the copies, are placed next to each other. You can see them arranged as 23 individual pairs here. When they're arranged in this way, each chromosome can be given a number. And the chromosomes with the same number, of course, which will be paired up together, have the same genes in the same positions. These chromosomes, which are essentially copies of each other and have the same genes in the same positions, are called homologous chromosomes. So, human cells, the diploid ones, are going to have 23 pairs of homologous chromosomes. So, for example, if you look at these two right here, both of these are chromosome number 1, right? You have two copies of chromosome number 1. This is one homologous pair. Similarly, this is a homologous pair of chromosome number 2. These two chromosome number 3s are a homologous pair, and so on and so forth. Okay, now that we understand this, let's go back to the process of sexual reproduction. Here, as we said, what we're going to need to ultimately do is that we're going to need to somehow have it so that the zygote ends up with two complete sets of chromosomes, right? So that the zygote is diploid. Now, in order for this to happen, what's going to happen is that each set of chromosomes that ends up in the zygote is going to be contributed by one of the gametes.
Quick pause. If you're finding value in this explanation, there's so much more to discover at Alt Academy, where we break down every A-level concept with the same clarity. Now back to the video lesson.
So, you're going to have, for example, the male gamete contributing one set of chromosomes, and the female gamete contributing another set of chromosomes, so that the zygote ends up with 2 sets of chromosomes and is diploid. So, just to remind you one more time, in the process of sexual reproduction, you're going to start off with 2 gametes. One from the mother, which will be the female gamete, and one from the father, which will be the male gamete. And these 2 are going to fuse to form the zygote. What I'm saying here is that each of these gametes are going to be contributing 1 set of chromosomes to this zygote, so that when their nuclei fuse together, the zygote ends up with 2 complete sets. Okay, so we get now that if each gamete contributes 1 set of chromosomes, the zygote ends up with 2 complete sets. Fine. But this raises another question. How come the gametes are only contributing 1 set of chromosomes? We just said earlier that most human cells are going to be diploid. But in order for a gamete to contribute only 1 set, that means that it would have only had 1 set. It would not have been diploid. See, only if each gamete has only 1 set of chromosomes will the zygote then end up with 2 sets. So it's important that the gametes, instead of being diploid, instead of having 2 sets of chromosomes, will only instead have 1 set of chromosomes each. These types of cells, which only have 1 set of chromosomes, are called haploid cells. So the gametes, instead of being diploid, are going to be haploid. Now, when talking about the number of chromosomes in one set, we can denote this using the letter N. So, what that means is that, for example, since a haploid cell has 1 set of chromosomes, we would say that it has an N number of chromosomes. And likewise, since a diploid cell would have 2 sets of chromosomes, we would say that it has 2N chromosomes. The exact number that this N represents will, of course, be different depending on the species. It will differ from species to species. For humans, as we said, for example, the N would be 23, because humans have 23 pairs of homologous chromosomes, right? In a diploid cell of a human, there's going to be 2 sets of 23 chromosomes each. So 1 set is 23 chromosomes. So the number N is going to be 23. Right? For other species, this number can of course be different. For example, in mosquitoes, the N will be 3. In an avocado tree, for example, it would be 12. So different species will have a different number for this N. Regardless, the point to remember here is that since the gametes need to be haploid, they will have an N number of chromosomes, so that when their nuclei fuse, the resulting zygote will have 2N number of chromosomes and will be diploid. Alright, as a quick recap, in this lesson we talked about the concept of haploid and diploid cells. Most cells in the human body, we said, contain 2 sets of chromosomes and are called diploid cells. Gametes, on the other hand, are one of the exceptions to this, and instead contain only 1 set of chromosomes. These types of cells are called haploid cells. The letter N can be used to denote the number of chromosomes in a haploid cell, right? The number of chromosomes in a single set. And the letter 2N can be used to denote the number of chromosomes in a diploid cell. In humans, N will be 23, and therefore 2N will be 46. In the process of sexual reproduction, the nuclei of 2 gametes fuse to produce a zygote. Since the gametes each have an N number of chromosomes, as in they are haploid, when they fuse, the resulting zygote will have 2N chromosomes, as in will be diploid. In our next lesson now, we're going to talk about how we get these haploid cells from diploid cells, meaning how we can produce our gametes using a process called meiosis. For now though, this lesson is complete. I hope you found it useful, and I'll see you next time.
Hey there! If you found this A-level biology lesson helpful, why don't you head over to altacademy.org and sign up for our full A-level biology course. In addition to biology, you could sign up for physics, chemistry, math, or 4 other A-level subjects. Thousands of students have already taken the leap. What are you waiting for? See you there.